Driver Bhaiya, can you answer one question? Trembling, Raju asked, What question? With a cold smile, she replied, if someone dies but still remains alive, can people see them? Raju froze. His entire body turned numb. He slammed the brakes, bringing the rickshaw to a screeching halt. Turning around quickly, he saw no one. The girl was gone. Raju couldn't breathe. His hands were drenched in sweat. He couldn't understand what had just happened. Was he dreaming? He was about to start the auto again when he suddenly heard the same cold voice from right behind his seat. Driver Bhaiya, are you scared? Raju screamed, or at least tried to, but no sound came from his throat. He turned slowly, and there she was, sitting again, her eyes glowing bright red. Raju wanted to drive away, as fast as he could, but his legs were shaking uncontrollably. The girl began laughing, a chilling laugh that echoed through the rickshaw. You don't need to be scared, Driver Bhaiya, she said softly. I won't harm you. Not yet. Summoning all the courage he could, Raju asked in a trembling voice, Who are you? Running her fingers along the seat of the auto, she replied, Have you ever wondered where people go when they suddenly disappear? A shiver ran through Raju's spine. He wanted to stop the rickshaw and run, but his body wasn't obeying him. The girl leaned forward, her lips almost at his ear, and whispered, I need to go home to Sector 137. Will you take me there? Raju's mind went blank. His hands trembled uncontrollably, but somehow he started the auto and began to drive. His heartbeat was pounding in his chest. With every passing second, his fear grew stronger. The girl sat quietly behind him, but Raju could feel her eyes piercing the back of his head. He drove through the silent, ghostly streets. The only sounds were the rickshaw's engine and Raju's rapid breathing. The Ghost Passenger, Part 2. The Truth Behind Sector 137. The only sound Raju could hear was his own breathing. Gathering his courage, he looked once again in the rearview mirror. This time, the girl's face was clearly visible. But then, something terrifying began to happen. Her face started to change. Her eyes turned pitch black, and a strange, sinister smile curled on her lips, as if she was enjoying a horrifying game. A chill ran down Raju's spine. He began silently chanting God's name in his heart. Then the girl spoke softly. Driver Bhaiya, I'm still alive, even after death. But I have unfinished business. Will you help me? Raju, barely able to speak, asked in a trembling voice, What kind of work? A strange pain appeared on the girl's face. She whispered, The house where you're taking me. No one lives there anymore, but I've always been there. 10 years ago, I was murdered in that very house. Raju's mind went blank. He wanted to hit the brakes, but his legs were frozen. He couldn't move. The girl's eyes now showed pain and rage. They killed me and threw my body right on this road, she said, her voice trembling. My soul is still wandering here because I never got justice. Raju's breath became heavier. He felt like he couldn't take it anymore. Then the girl bowed her head slightly and said gently, You seem like a kind man. Will you help me? Raju's heart sank. He didn't want to help. He wanted to run far away. But somehow, he gathered himself and stuttered, I don't understand. What do you want from me? In her cold voice, she replied, I just need you to take me to the place where I was killed. Raju's hands and feet felt numb, but deep inside, something told him he shouldn't run. Maybe she was telling the truth. Maybe her soul just wanted peace. He continued driving. The roads looked even more deserted now. The wind picked up, like a storm was coming. At every turn, Raju felt like something unseen was watching him. After a few minutes, they arrived near Sector 137, in front of an old, crumbling mansion. Its windows were broken. The inside was pitch black. Raju's throat dried up. He asked quietly, Is this your house?" The girl didn't reply. She silently stepped out of the rickshaw and walked to the mansion's rusted gate, running her fingers along the surface. Suddenly, the gate creaked open on its own. Raju's breath froze. Without looking back, the girl walked inside. Raju didn't know what to do. Should he run or follow her? But somehow, gathering all his courage, he stepped out and slowly followed her inside. The mansion was pitch dark. The soft sound of the wind and creaking wood made everything feel even more terrifying. Spiderwebs hung from the walls. A thick layer of dust covered the floor. The girl stopped in the middle of the hall and whispered, "This is the place, Driver Bhaiya. This is where I screamed for help, but no one heard me." Raju looked around nervously. Suddenly, he saw red stains begin to appear on the walls. Blood stains. He started. He tried to run toward the door, but his feet wouldn't move, as if an invisible force had held him in place. Then, the girl's face began to change again. From her eyes, instead of tears, blood began to flow. Her voice echoed through the empty mansion. "Driver Bhaiya, it's time. Time to bring them to justice." Raju's fear had reached its peak. His legs trembled uncontrollably. But somehow, some unseen power made it impossible for him to move even an inch. The Ghost Passenger. Part 3. The Face of the Killer. Inside the haunted mansion, an eerie whisper circled the air, like something unseen was swirling around Raju. The girl stood at the center of the hall. Blood was now streaming from her eyes, leaving deep red stains on her pale, white face. In a terrified voice, Raju finally asked, Who were they? Who killed you?" She slowly turned toward him. Her pupils had turned completely white. Then, in a trembling voice, she said, "There were 3 of them. One is still alive." A shiver ran down Raju's spine. "What do you want from me?" he asked, trying to gather his courage. Her face contorted in rage. The mansion walls began to flicker with shadows, like restless spirits wandering within. "You must find that man," her voice echoed around the room. "I need justice," Raju stammered. "But I'm just a simple auto driver. How can I do all this?" Suddenly, there was a loud bang. An old wooden cupboard behind him, flung open by itself. A dusty, crumpled newspaper flew out and landed at Raju's feet. He slowly picked it up and began to read with trembling hands. "Young woman murdered brutally in Noida Sector 137. Body missing. 3 suspects, but no arrests." Raju's heartbeat skyrocketed. His eyes froze on a name printed in the article. Rohit Verma. He whispered it aloud. "Rohit." The girl's eyes lit up with fury. "Yes, that's him. That monster killed me," she screamed. The paper slipped from Raju's hands. He didn't know what to think or do. The girl slowly moved toward him. "Now you must find him. Driver Bhaiya," she said. Suddenly, every window in the mansion burst open. A violent gust of wind whipped through the room. An invisible force lifted Raju into the air, like a hand tightening around his throat. He gasped for breath, struggling. Fine, I'll help you," he screamed. And then, everything stopped. Silence. The doors gently creaked open, and Raju collapsed onto the ground, gasping for air. The girl stood calmly now. "I will stay with you until my revenge is complete," she said, in a cold, whispering voice. That's when Raju realized this was far from over. This was only the beginning. He stepped out of the mansion, but he could feel her shadow behind him. Now, he had a name, Rohit Verma. But how would he find him? And what would he do if he did? Raju's mind was spinning. Never in his life had he imagined coming face to face with a spirit, let alone becoming part of her revenge. As he stepped outside, the air was still cold, but her presence clung to every step. His auto stood there, exactly as he left it, untouched, as if frozen in time. He cautiously opened the door and froze. In the rearview mirror, he saw her shadow again. She was silently sitting in the back seat, her eyes glowing faintly in the darkness. Raju asked with a trembling voice, "Where to now?" "Noida Sector 18, she replied with a chill in her voice. "That's where you'll find the monster who murdered me." Hands still shaking, Raju started the auto. It was 2 a.m. The streets of Noida were even more deserted now. Trying to keep his voice steady, Raju asked, "Why didn't you come sooner?" "Why now?" The girl spoke softly. "I did, but no one could see me." "Then, why can I see you?" he asked. She was silent for a moment, then said, "Because the humanity inside you is still alive. And that's why I chose you, to help me get revenge." Raju's mind was unable to process all of it, but turning back was no longer an option. After a while, they reached Noida Sector 18. The girl pointed toward an old, broken-down hotel. "That's where his filthy world is hidden," she said. "He hides there." Raju looked closely at the building. A flickering, rusted sign read, "Hotel Blue Star." He had no desire to go in. But now, the girl's power was controlling him. "Go inside," she commanded. Raju slowly stepped toward the entrance. At the reception desk sat an old man with tired eyes. The ghost passenger, Part 4, final, nowhere to run. Raju's hands almost slipped from the steering wheel. His breath caught in his throat, and his heartbeat thundered in his ears. "You're following me?" he asked, trembling. The girl smiled faintly in the rearview mirror and said, "I'm not following you. I'm now your companion." "Companion," Raju whispered. "You helped me get revenge. Now my spirit is bound to you until I'm completely free." "But it's over, right?" Raju said, hopeful. The girl's voice dropped to a chilling whisper. "There were 3 of them. You've only punished 1. 2 more still walk free." Raju's face went pale. "No, I can't. I'm just a driver," he cried. But the girl's shadow was no longer just in the mirror. She was clearly visible on the back seat, her presence almost solid now. "You can't run, Driver Bhaiya," she said. The rickshaw's headlights lit up the road, and ahead, a dark silhouette stood silently in the middle of the street. "That's the second one," she whispered. Raju gave a faint smile and said, "No, madam, I'm free now." But the girl replied with a soft voice, "Just listen to one last thing." Raju nervously asked, "What?" Suddenly, a strange gleam appeared in the girl's eyes. "What you saw tonight, that was just a game. The real story is still left." As she said that, her shadow vanished into thin air. A chill ran down Raju's spine. Wasn't it all over? But deep down, he felt this wasn't the end. Something even bigger was coming. The rickshaw still sped through the dark roads, and in Raju's mind, only one thought echoed. What now? Her last words kept repeating in his head. The real story is still left. He shook his head, trying to convince himself it was all over. But he couldn't escape the feeling. Something wasn't right. His auto continued through Noida's desolate streets. Streetlights cast a dim glow, but the further he went, the stranger the road felt. "Where am I?" he muttered. No one around, no people, no cars. I was going straight home from Sector 18, but this place, it's weird. Sweat beaded on his forehead. He tried to stop the auto, but something horrifying happened. The brakes failed. The auto sped up like an invisible force had taken control. What's happening? Raju gripped the steering wheel tightly. The auto darted into complete darkness. Even the streetlights had gone off. Suddenly, a crossroad appeared, and the auto turned by itself into an abandoned lane. Raju's heart pounded wildly. He recognized the lane, the same place where he had first seen the girl. No. How did I end up here again? Suddenly, the auto stopped on its own. Everything went silent. He could hear only one sound, his own heartbeat. And then, a hand touched his shoulder from behind. His body froze. He couldn't muster the courage to look back. Then, a familiar cold voice whispered, "Driver Paya." Raju turned his head slowly. The girl was standing there, but she wasn't like before. Her face was pitch black, blood dripped from her eyes, and her body floated in the air. She had fully become a spirit now. Raju tried to scream, but no voice came out. She looked at him with empty eyes and whispered, "The game is not over, Driver Bhaiya. The real story begins now." Darkness swallowed them again. Her glowing red eyes were the only thing visible. She floated in the air with a terrifying smile. "You thought I took my revenge. The real killer is still alive." Raju felt his spine freeze. The killer? But that man died, didn't he? The girl's eyes glowed brighter. Rohit Verma was just a pawn. The real demon is someone else, and now you must help me. Raju looked around terrified. The auto still stood in front of the haunted mansion, but he felt like unseen eyes were watching him. "Let me go. I'm just a normal guy," he begged. Her smile disappeared. "You can't back out now," she said coldly. "You helped me once. Now you must complete the final journey." Suddenly, Raju's body felt heavy, as if something invisible had gripped him. Then, a terrifying scream echoed from inside the mansion. What was that?" The girl whispered. "He's awake." "Who?" "The one who ended me, who killed countless innocent girls. Now it's his turn." The mansion doors creaked open by themselves. A gust of icy wind escaped from inside. It reeked of death. "I don't want to go in there," Raju said, trembling. Her eyes now blazed like fire. "You must." Suddenly, Raju's body was lifted into the air. An invisible force pulled him into the mansion. "No, let me go." But it was too late. The doors slammed shut behind him. Inside, everything was pitch black. He lay on the ground, shaking. Silence surrounded him, but he could hear breathing. He lifted his head and looked around. Broken furniture lay scattered. Bloodstains marred the walls. Cobwebs hung in the corners. The smell of rot suffocated him. "I have to get out of here." He staggered to his feet. But then, "You are not allowed to run." Her voice echoed again, even colder now. The girl still floated in the air, but now a black mist surrounded her. "What are you doing?" Raju asked. She replied, "It's time to awaken the true demon." The mansion shook. The floor rumbled. A deep, heavy sound of footsteps echoed. Thump, thump, thump. Raju turned around. A massive shadow loomed in the darkness, so tall it touched the ceiling. Its eyes glowed red. The girl's voice hissed with hatred. "That's the one who killed me, who turned this mansion into a temple of sin." The shadow crept closer. A demonic voice thundered, "You cannot escape me." Raju's eyes widened with terror. The girl whispered, "Now it ends, but for whom? You or him?" Suddenly, lights inside the mansion lit up. A shrill scream filled the room. The walls echoed with the cries of trapped souls. The shadow stood before him now. "You won't escape." The voice was deeper now, inhuman. Raju's legs were frozen. He wanted to run, but his body wouldn't move. The girl still floated. Her eyes glowed with a terrifying light. "Your end is near, monster," she screamed. The mirrors shattered. Cracks split the floor. The mist around her deepened. She was summoning something powerful. The shadow took a deep breath. The stench became unbearable. "You can't kill me. I'm immortal." "You're not immortal," the girl snarled. "You're just a demon rotting under the weight of your sins." Suddenly, a brilliant blue light burst from her body. Raju shielded his eyes. When he looked again, the shadow was writhing in pain. "No, this power, it's impossible," the shadow screamed. She raised her arms. A glowing trident appeared in the air. "Your end has come." She hurled it with all her strength. It pierced straight through the demon. A blood-curdling scream echoed. The mansion shook violently. Windows shattered. Plaster rained from the ceiling. The shadow exploded with a final blast. Silence. Dust settled. The walls stopped vibrating. Raju slowly opened his eyes. Everything was still. He saw the girl, now calm. Her face was peaceful. Her eyes, no longer angry, just content. "It's over now, Driver Bhaiya," Raju whispered. "Is it really over?" She nodded slowly. Her body began to fade into smoke. She became translucent, finally free. "But who were you? And what was that shadow?" he asked. She smiled. "Some stories are better left unfinished. Just know this. I chose you because your heart was pure. You helped me so I could save you from the darkness." And then she disappeared into thin air. Silence fell once more. Raju stood there, still trembling. He convinced himself it was all over. He walked to the door. It creaked open on its own. Outside, dawn was breaking. A gentle breeze blew. He took a deep breath, climbed into his rickshaw, and drove off. The streets were slowly coming alive, but when he glanced into his rearview mirror, his blood froze. The girl was sitting behind him. She smiled faintly and vanished. A chill ran down Raju's spine. But this time, he wasn't afraid, because he had realized some souls don't return for revenge.